I'm Lindsay Del Carlo, the trial garden manager for Renee's Garden Seeds, and today I am going to show you how I plant our winter squash. This method applies for all of our winter squash varieties we sell at Renee's, and I'll show you the difference between summer and winter squash. Summer squash, like zucchini or crookneck squash, are harvested at a very young stage when they're still small and very tender. And then our winter squash, like this kabocha, are let to mature on the vine until the skins are very tough and you cannot pierce them with your fingernail, and the stem will be very dried out. So these harvested very fresh, summer squash and winter squash, are let to mature on the plants until they're hard shelled. So I have my bed prepped already with compost and a dry vegetable fertilizer, so I'm ready to plant. And our directions say to sow groups of 2 or 3 seeds spaced 2 feet apart. So I'll show you what that looks like. So I just take my 3 seeds and I put them in a little group together, and I'll just poke them right into the soil about 1 inch deep. And then I like to use these little strawberry baskets to cover up where I sowed the seeds, so when they sprout, a bird or a snail is not going to come by and just pluck them right out of the ground. You can settle that into the soil so that it doesn't blow away. And then I'll move along to the next 2 feet. So ultimately you want your plants to be spaced 2 feet apart, so if we put 3 seeds in one spot, after that we can thin to the strongest seedling, so it'll leave 1 plant every 2 feet. So I'll do that again. I'll take 3 seeds and just put them pretty close together in a little triangle, and then poke them in about 1 inch deep. And then take my strawberry basket and put it right over where they're going to germinate. There, and so when they germinate, they're protected. And you can follow these directions for most all of our squashes. They take the same sowing recommendations. And then when I'm done, you're going to water them in thoroughly. So I use a light spray and give them a good drench. And then from here on, I'll make sure my soil stays pretty moist. You don't ever want your seedlings to dry out while they're germinating. And just like that. And then we'll come back in a few weeks when they're ready to thin out. About 2.5 weeks later, and our winter squash seedlings are ready to thin. So I'll take the strawberry basket off, and you can see I got good germination. So I'm going to thin this little group of 3 seedlings down to the strongest seedling. And so as you can see, I have one that looks kind of weak, one that's a little smaller, and then I have the biggest one here. So I'm going to just pull out the 2 smaller seedlings and leave the bigger, strongest seedling. And you really, really need to thin. The thinning is so important. Just remember, I know it sounds like the wrong thing to do, pull out seedlings that you worked hard to grow, but plants need enough space, especially large plants like winter squash. They want to be only 1 seedling per 2 feet so that they have plenty of room for their roots to grow without any competition and mature to full size. Same here. Oh, here you can see I only have 1 plant that came up. So this is another reason why we sow 3 seeds at a time, because something always happens to seedlings. Either a snail will come by and munch on it, or some just won't germinate. So if you sow 3 seeds, then you're for sure to have enough to grow on. Here we are back with our mature winter squash. And as you can see, my 3 plants that I planted here got really, really huge. They got to full size. And our squash, these are kabocha squash, developed nice, big, mature squash. And this is what happens when you give them enough space and enough nutrients to grow really well. And then we'll go over and see our spaghetti squash. Here we are with our mature spaghetti squash, and as you can see, they produce a ton if they're given enough space and enough nutrients and water to grow to their full maturity. If you'd like more information on the proper way to harvest winter squash, you can see our video on how and when to harvest winter squash. Winter squash are really fun and easy to grow using our method, and we have many varieties of great winter squash available at reneesgarden.com. Thanks for watching.